So I'm gonna be very honest. I honestly was thinking going into this arc, this love comedy arc, that it was going to be a waste of time, that, you know what I'm saying, like, yeah, I probably get a couple laughs out of it. I was like, I don't even know if I should just even skip reviewing these chapters before, of course, we got chapter 221. I was like, who knows, because it's a love comedy. We've had that in the past in Black Clover, and it didn't really add too much progression to the plot or whatever. But boy, was I wrong, and I'm glad I was wrong, because this chapter, not only did it add advancement to certain aspects of relationships in the story, but also very, very big stuff with curses, and a very big throwback to what potentially is the truth of what's been going on with Noelle this entire series. Real hype. Let's talk about all this Black Clover greatness, baby. I'm loving it. Whether Facebook, Twitter, or the two, make sure to steer clear, cause I'm coming through like... So the chapter starts off with Charlotte thinking back and regretting what she did last chapter regarding running away from Yami, even though she got strong ass feelings for him. She's like, yo, what did I do? And you could definitely see that this chapter, and one of the strong points about Black Clover, which again is a throwback to a lot of things, why I say it's reminiscent of Fairy Tail, but I just say that Black Clover is better than Fairy Tail, done better than Fairy Tail. It's just, I rock with it 10 times more than Fairy Tail at this point, because it takes love pairings and relationships and stuff like that, and opposed to like what the previous gen of manga did in the past, where it would just completely exclude and put to the side any type of romance stuff, which, yeah, I understand sometimes, like, this is an action story, you don't want to focus on romance all the time, but I always hated how with Bleach, Naruto, One Piece don't really dive into it almost at all, but Bleach and Naruto in particular, they used to do relationships, set up maybe a little inkling of a character liking another character, and then just put it to the side, and we'll get like a sentence every 200 chapters about, hey, I may have some feelings, 500 more chapters down the road about this character. Black Clover don't do that, baby. Black Clover's like, yo, this character likes this character, let's explore it for a couple chapters. And the way it does it as well, without completely forgetting that, hey, we have a plot to take care of, fam. There's things that we want to read, is amazing. I love it. I think we've evolved at this point with Black Clover, where maybe 50 chapters ago, Tabata could get away with doing a Hot Springs chapter arc where it's just like, oh, we're at the Hot Springs and nothing's happening. Now we're at a serious point in the story where people are invested in, everything that happened with the devil, and we got the Nation of Spade and all this ready to go, Asta being exiled or whatever, where he realizes, okay, I can't fool around no more. Even if I'm doing romance stuff, which also is very interesting the way he does it, I can't completely play games and ignore the main meat and potatoes of the story. So he gives us a gem at the end, and he gives us a couple of different gems as well regarding Charlotte's backstory, Noelle, and just all around curses and stuff like that, which goes back to the vague curse that we heard about a couple chapters ago. But before we get into the meat and potatoes, I do want to talk about the romance stuff again with Charlotte and Yami. Again, the chapter starts off, Charlotte is like regretting it and whatnot, to the point where she's like, yo, because obviously Blue Pegasus is an all-female thing. It's kind of like, the Amazon of, like Wonder Woman and them, where it's like, hey, it's just all women. Obviously, Blue Pegasus, all-woman Magic Knight Guild, where she's like, you know what? I'm going to step down. I betrayed you guys, and I'm going to tell you why I'm stepping down. I'm resigning. I'm in love with Yami. I'm like, yo, such a great change of pace for a shonen manga dealing in the realms of romance and love, to not completely say, we'll touch up on another 100 chapters. We'll get a little hint here or there. Throughout even the, the devil arc, throughout a lot of this, we continuously keep going back to Charlotte and Yami's potential relationship. And the fact that she didn't just like an average shonen for the longest time, just being 100% honest, would have had her choke up and not say anything. The fact that she screamed it to all her people, I love it. It shows where we're at today and age. It also shows that the reader demographic in Shonen Jump ain't as young as it used to be. There's a lot more older people, not only in the West, I truly believe in Japan as well. We got a lot of older people reading Shonen Jump. People like to read about relationships sometimes. It's reminiscent to their own life, or gives them an idea of what relationships might be like. Although in the past, a lot of, or in anime and manga in general, a lot of relationships are just very fluffed and like, no, that's not realistic. But this one definitely, it was like, yo, we're going to touch up more into it. We're not just going to leave it as, they got feelings or she got feelings, whatever. It went straight in and had her yell out to the people. And I love how, besides Soul and Charlotte, it seems as though the Blue Rose, all of them in general, are like, yeah, this is awesome, and they cheering and whatnot, which shows that the ideologies of those two are the only ones that were really strong on this pro-woman, screw men, it's all about the woman power of the V, you know what I'm saying, power of the P. They left that out, and they were secretly dating guys on the side, which is crazy. It just shows that just because people are following don't always mean that they have the same exact ideologies. Maybe Soul is probably, she was on that path because she probably has some feelings for Charlotte as well. But you see everybody champion it. They're like, yeah, they're revealing everything, which again, it just shows the difference in a lot of things. And I think as we progress, I want to see more of the members of each, Magic Knight faction, their thoughts and their ideologies. It seems as though they really didn't believe in all that pro-woman, like just screw men are garbage type of bullshit, except again the main two. To the point where they even start coaching her, like, go and confess. And then when we get the comedy bits, which again, comedy, romance, and plot is what this chapter really was all about. Because then, of course, they're pushing her forward, and Yami just happens to show up with Asta. I love that. Like, that's the comedy of like, oh, what a coincidence. Yami's right there. Go and confess, girl. And I love, again, there's just so much things I love about this. You know what I'm saying? I love that Yami is still dense. He's still like, oh, and he starts thinking like, you reading me like, oh, so Yami knows. He says, I know your feelings about me. But he's an overgrown main character from a shonen that really still doesn't understand romance to this day. Like, he still doesn't understand when somebody has feelings for him. He's like, yeah, I know you hate me, and you were just trying to spare my little wee heart from getting broken or whatever. I'm like, yeah, you kind of represent the previous generation of shonen main that really had no idea. Like, Naruto was oblivious to Hinata's feelings towards him all the way until freaking, what was it, the last movie after the manga and anime. Like, that's a representation of the old generation, where you even see Asta from the new generation. He even has a little bit of a better understanding and idea that these girls aren't like that these girls actually may have something for you, when he points it out, which, by the way, again, comedy. Yami saying, yo, you on borrowed time, why don't you shut up? Like, I love it. But it also gives a little hope in the pairing aisle anyway, because he's like, yo, Noelle's kind of the same way. It's like, it's not that they dislike us, it's that they trust us, and it makes the fact that they have this trust in us makes it that much more hard for them to express how they really feel and things like that. So it shows the advancement and evolution of shonen manga right here, plain as day, with Asta knowing that Noelle not necessarily knows the extent of it, that, she really want to be with him or whatever, but he knows that it's not just like, damn, yo, she's a BITC, you know what I'm saying? Like, advancement, baby. And who would have thought that the little munchkin Asta would be able to point this shit out? Again, I love it. I've said I love it a million times. I know. I love Black Clover. Oh, well, I'm going to say it again. I love it. And it's funny, after they get the acknowledgement or whatever, and even though Charlotte, like, pumped her brakes on completely going in and saying, yeah, Yami, I want your black bull all over me, she calms it down and it's like, hey, can we have some dinner? Which all the girls, like, for a romance chapter, a lot of romance in this one, it was good. It was natural. It was funny. It was like taking a tsundere situation and saying, well, what if the tsundere actually finally got over being a tsundere? I mean, they're older characters, right? So kind of shows like, damn, it's going to take you that long to, like, what, they're 30 years old or something? Like, takes you that long to get over the tsundere hump, but whatever. She's like, let's go with it, opposed to just the years and years of nonsense. Like, hopefully Noelle gets on the same page as Asta, and eventually they can evolve, and we don't gotta wait till Black Clover chapter 700 or Black Clover the last movie, like, to get that relationship. Like, let's get a move on, assuming that's going to be the pairing, because we still got Mimosa in the wings, which I think Mimosa X Yuno would probably be better. I don't know, that's just me. I want to see Mimosa X Yuno maybe, even though I would personally, like, I like Mimosa more, but it seems as though the fact that Asta's aware of Noelle not, like, just being that way, like, hating him and whatnot, maybe that's really where it's gonna go. I don't know, maybe the author is gonna take a twist, opposed to what Naruto did with Naruto and Hinata, because Mimosa's obviously the Hinata, clearly. He might go with, it's the Sakura and Naruto in this one, which I'm sure a lot of people will like, although there's a lot of, his harem is getting very, very wide. I mean, Nero is still there, although, I don't know, I think Nero will probably just end up alone in the end, which is sad, but I don't see her ending up with Asta, especially. Maybe, who knows, maybe Gauche or something. And then when we start getting into the meat of it all, where Charlotte starts saying exactly what happened with the curse, that it was a mage that had a grudge against her family, that placed the curse on her. It activated when she was 18 years old, and it just kind of started getting deeper into what we, the big crux of everything, because obviously as we approach leaving the nation, approach leaving the kingdom, we got to know certain aspects so that we can understand where we're moving towards with Asta and, you know, escorting him out of the nation and trying to figure things out. But one of the things that led into the ending was, she said it alters the form and soul of the magic, right? So obviously Charlotte, you know, being afflicted with this curse, and then of course she says, but don't you have somebody, a part of your crew that knows even more about all this stuff? And it leads into the Noelle thing. I think that's one of the possibilities of maybe Noelle's cursed. Maybe her mother was cursed, she died by the curse, and passed on the curse to Noelle. This could be a huge game changer, because it would show that this entire time, Noelle's been fighting against a curse on her. Which, if you think about it, that's crazy. That's insane, because she's going to have a huge power-up once she gets rid of this curse. And also, the form and soul of the magic. Noelle uses, like, you know, water magic and whatnot. I can't really remember right now, I'll be honest with you, if everybody in the Silver House uses the same type of, what is it, mercury, or, you know, the chrome magic that Noelle uses. If that's the case and she's only using water, it might be because of the curse. It changed the form and the soul of her magic. Once she rids herself of the curse, she probably is going to have a major power up, and yeah, it's probably linking everything, which is, it's going to be fascinating. I'm curious, like, did her father put all this into their head for them to hate her and not really understand what she was going through? Like, where did all of this stem from, the hatred towards Noelle? I mean, I think it was touched upon a little bit, but was the father even aware of this curse? Was the, you know what I'm saying? And why is it these certain people, like, okay, it was Charlotte was affected by it, Noelle or Noelle's mother might have been affected by it? Because at the end of the chapter, Noelle goes towards, which honestly, forgive me again, I don't really remember who that character is, that witch that is putting things together. That wasn't Vanessa, I'm pretty sure. Totally not Vanessa, you know what I mean? Whoever that was that she went up to, she said, I want to ask you about my mom and about devils. Which, again, I think that this is going to be huge. This is going to be a game changer for Noelle's power up. This is going to be a game changer leading into, again, us leaving the nation. And it was a great thing that Tabata didn't completely neglect the main story. You know, we got romance, we got all that, but the romance led to something else. Charlotte's conversation with Yami over dinner about the curse led into Noelle questioning about herself and everything. It's gonna be great. Honestly, this chapter, for a romance comedy mixed with some plot, I'd say it's about like a 7.5, not even a 7.5, honestly, about 8, solid 8. I loved it. Honestly, if it was enjoyment alone, I'd probably say about a 9, 9.5 enjoyment alone, because I had a blast with this chapter. Do more chapters. If you're gonna do things like this, take notes, shonen. If you're gonna take a break and away from the big craziness, do it like this. Make it funny, make it insightful, continue to build on the characters' relationships and whatnot, and add extra pieces of golden nuggets about the story, foreshadowing things or whatever, and even look, a callback to Noelle and what she's really probably been up against this entire time, why her magic has always been messed up and everything. But I'm curious what you guys think about this though. For starters, do you think that it was the fact that Noelle's family was cursed, her mother was cursed, and that's why Noelle's magic, she hasn't been able to control it all this time? And also, doesn't that show that she's gonna be very, very freaking strong after all this? Also, what do you think about Yami and Charlotte's pairing there? How do you think this? Honestly, I could see by the end of it all, if Yami gets a clue, they could end up together, which I would love that. Let's advance things. Let's stop playing around. Let's get the Asuma and Kurenai type of deal. You know what I'm saying? I want to see some of that in there, and I think it's possible. And your overall thoughts and expectations for the future of Black Clover? Golden nuggets, comedy, romance, all around really solid chapter 4. Again, it's just like a little carryover, getting into, like, you know, an intermission between the next big arc and the last big arc, and I messed with it. The characters is great. Black Clover really has such a solid cast, and chapters like this show just that. And your overall thoughts and expectations for the future of Black Clover from chapter 222 and beyond. I can't wait to see where we're going to go with this. Hopefully this arc, again, as great as it was, I don't want, like, you know, 5 chapters in a row of, hey, Charlotte really likes Yami but can't get the words out exactly. Like, another chapter 2 of this is fine. Let's not push it. That's all I have for this one though. Thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed. If you liked anything I had to say or enjoyed the video, drop me a like. I'd greatly appreciate it. And if you want more from me, make sure to subscribe. Follow me on Twitter, Instagram. Hit that bell to get all notifications, so when I drop a Black Clover video, you will be notified. And if you want to follow any of my other social media, links of course in the description below. I'm ForneverWorld, and as always, people, have an awesome day. And remember the golden rule: anime and manga for life, boy. Have an awesome day. Peace in. Enjoy the next ride, but I was the best ride. But I hope you know that